You are listening to the New Jersey Business Podcast with your friend, host, all-around good guy, Paul Valverde. Now, on to the show.
What's shaking New Jersey? Welcome to another episode of the New Jersey Business Podcast. Today, I have a special guest, Leslie Howard, co-founder and managing partner of Cohen Howard, LLP. Leslie, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Paul. I'm really looking forward to spending some time with you, talk about things.
Yes, so I'm very interested to know about what do you do as a managing partner in a law firm. What is it like, or what was it like to become a co-founder of a law firm, and perhaps talk about what is it that you focus on, what is your niche. So please feel free to start anywhere you like and begin to share with me and with our audience about your journey as an attorney and in your particular field.
Yeah, so I've been practicing upwards of 20 years, and for the past 10 years, I developed a niche in the legal field, representing providers or surgeons throughout the country, nationwide, to help them get fair reimbursement against the insurance companies. And so what we do is we allow our clients to practice medicine and concentrate on that, and allow their patients to recover while we're doing the back end, which is keeping basically our clients in business.
So how do you get into that? Like, I'm sure that as you study law and become an attorney, there's different options in front of you. How is it that you lean towards healthcare?
Yeah, well, this was, so I have been the quintessential of an attorney who really used her law degree as a journey, right? So when I started as a lawyer, I was a young lawyer. I was in a large firm. I was a litigator. I was working the hours, billing the hours, and I really wasn't very happy with it. So I then went on to have my daughter, and I got into real estate because it was flexible for hours, and I was able to take my skill set, go into real estate. From there, interestingly, I realized I was now running a business, not just practicing law, and I had to learn how to sell my business, market myself, all the things that really the law doesn't teach you. From there, I one day decided I liked immigration, and I literally got out the yellow pages back then, which probably a lot of your people who are listening don't even know what the yellow pages is, but it was the Google of my time. And I looked up immigration lawyers and called them and said, can you help me? Can you mentor me to learn immigration law? From there, after many years of practicing, a friend of mine who was a plastic surgeon asked me to come into his practice and to help them as out-of-network providers drive up their reimbursement rates. So I was lucky enough to be able to learn the field from the ground up as the medical field. So and once I learned that, I kind of coupled it with the legal field and found that there was something seriously missing or in this field to help these providers recover fair reimbursement against the insurance companies. And so I really developed the process that we use today, and obviously has evolved against the insurance companies. And then, once I was done with this particular group, I took it back to my law firm, and now we represent probably over 200 providers nationwide. So that's really how you become a managing partner. You kind of, or how you even use your legal license. I mean, you use it in so many different ways. As you can see, my journey started out as a very traditional lawyer and wound up being a managing partner at a very niche law firm.
Yeah, and I guess your experience shows and reflects that you don't always know exactly where you're gonna focus on from the very beginning, and it's okay to find out along the way. And so, you mentioned when you were getting into immigration law that you look for a mentor. Do you do the same in like in the prior things that you tried? Like, have you always been a person that have acknowledged that it's good to have a mentor, someone who can advise you and guide you?
Oh, absolutely. There's two things I've learned in life. One is, uh, I always tell anyone I meet, my employees, the smartest people are the people who ask questions. That no question is stupid, because if you're not asking questions, you're not learning. So, and that's really goes towards mentorship, right? I mean, in order for you to, I think it's really important to be comfortable with someone. And I think as you get older, people like to mentor the younger generation. I mean, people want to see younger people passing the baton to younger people for success. So yeah, I think I've always have had mentors, but I think it's really important as an older person to realize that it's important to do that for people. So yeah, I would say
For
so.
others, yeah. So it's both the importance to seek a mentor, and also those who are in a position now to be able to give, to be willing to be mentors.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
I like that.
And I think almost it's an obligation as an older person. I
Yeah.
mean, we are leaving behind our legacy, which, so it's an obligation to help young people find success. And the one thing I wish I had known is someone who gave me enough confidence to say that career is a journey, right? It's not a straight line. When I left litigation, I thought I was done. Boom, done with law. I hate it. And I felt I had no skill set. I mean, what am I going to do? I went to law school. That's all I can do, law. But, had I had someone who encouraged me to say, listen, life is a journey. You don't know where you're going to wind up. And I tell my kids this all the time, just kind of go with it, because you fall into things in life. You will, and the most interesting people and the most successful people, and I tell them to read people's resumes, are the people who didn't take the straight line. They took the journey.
And you know what? In even the story that you share, it was you say it was a friend who was a surgeon who called you in, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, without you realizing it, that kind of opened the door for you to realize a specific niche that you can focus in.
Exactly. It was an opportunity. So as an entrepreneur, and I think I'm more of an entrepreneur than an attorney, is you always have to seize opportunity and not care about failure. Because I always say, and I say this to my kids, a career is like, or being an entrepreneur is like a relationship, right? You can love someone, but if the timing is wrong, it doesn't work out. And a career is the same way, or an entrepreneurship is the same way. If you find an opportunity, you may not have the right timing. And I've had many failures as an entrepreneur, even though I am a lawyer. And then I found that lineup. It lined up perfectly. I found the niche and I found the timing in life. And it was, melded together, and it's become a very successful, atypical, unusual law firm.
You know, this week I was actually reflecting on the fact that um, quite often, if you ask people what's the enemy of success, most people will say failure. But actually, failure is not the enemy of success. Failure is a contributor to success, because it is when you fail that you learn lessons and you become better. Complacency, mediocrity would be more of an enemy to success, when you just accept things as they are and you're no longer willing to look for something more or strive to get better. And that goes right on with what you're sharing right now, that it's okay to fail. It's okay if your line is not straight, if it goes side to side a little bit. I think it's a mixture of having a focus and having flexibility as well, knowing that life isn't a straight line, right?
Yeah, it's fun. That's the journey. Make it fun. Absolutely. And yes, you should fail, because if you don't fail, you don't learn, and that's it. I had building blocks of where I failed to get to a point where I am now very successful. So, you just have to, and I tell this to young people all the time, just relax. They're very, very serious today, young people.
So Leslie, let's talk a little bit more about that, about this area where you're successful. So for our audience, perhaps are not familiar with what goes into a provider or a surgeon getting paid. So what is the process like, and how is it that your services come in handy so that they get proper compensation?
Yeah. So I think the first step is most people don't understand really the insurance industry. They have health insurance. They kind of know what's going on, but they don't kind of know what's going on. And then they get a serious illness. Okay. So most people pay for out-of-network benefits, right? So it's that peace of mind. If something, God forbid, really seriously happens, I'm going to go to the doctor of my choice versus what's called in-network, people who participate in my network, and maybe I go to my internist, so I only pay a copay. So when you have a serious illness, and these are the type of surgeons that I represent, reconstructive surgeons who, develop, for after mastectomy, they'll develop the breast, or I do spinal surgeons, thoracic, any really surgeons. And when you choose a doctor out of network, let's say, and you're told by your insurance company, well, you're going to be responsible for 10%. That's what your co-insurance is. And we're going to pay 90%. And let's say the doctor says it's a $30,000 procedure. And so you save your $3,000 and you think that $27,000 is going to be paid by that insurance company. And then you're recovering and you get your explanation of benefits. And the insurance company says, well, we allow $900. And you're stuck with the rest of the bill, basically, the patient.
Wow.
What I do is I challenge the insurance company on behalf of these surgeons and really on behalf of the patients to why the reimbursement is so low. How are they coming up with that reimbursement? And so I'm really, like I always say, the David of the Goliath, right? I'm the David going after these big insurance companies. And it's successful because I feel my journey is to keep these doctors in business, because these are incredibly qualified, talented doctors who are really at the mercy of this insurance industry. And I know there's a lot of publicity all the time about the doctor and the balance billing, and there is legislation, which I'm sure we'll get to later out there. But these doctors just want to heal their patients, and they want their patients to recover. And when you're going through a serious surgery, you don't need finances to be part of the equation. So that's really where we help, and we're proud of it, because we help sick patients, really sick patients.
Yeah. In this scenario where you're able to excel and, in the sense, enable these providers and surgeons to continue to provide those services to people who need it. And you're right, when you're going through things like that, the last thing you want to worry about is the financial aspect of it, right?
Yeah, and it's an incredibly complex area. I mean, and that's what people don't realize. I mean, so what we do is we take a claim and we've grown. And 10 years ago, we were just doing more of the reimbursement, concentrating on that. Now, today, we've grown with the needs of our clients. So we provide anything from medical billing, pre-service, appeal work, all the way through litigation. And what we do is we set up their claims, almost like a lawsuit, where you have to take certain steps, and you have to put certain information into the appeal work in order to get results, in order to increase the leverage against the insurance companies. And I think that's mainly what we do, is we increase our clients' leverage against the insurance companies so that they are taken seriously and are paid fairly.
Leslie, tell me a little bit about what is it like to run a law firm?
Well, here's the thing, we're not a typical law firm. As I've said, I've used almost law a lot as business. And so what makes us really unique is we created a very collaborative environment where we have people from medical disciplines and people from legal fields coming together to discuss strategy. And we have provided everyone with a voice. And I think it's incredibly rewarding that someone maybe from the medical discipline may tell us, well, why don't we try this strategy? And they actually see a result from their strategy, maybe a favorable decision. So I am really a flat structure type of law firm. We are not hierarchical. We don't have closed door policies. Everybody works together as teams. And then, it's funny, I watch how certain people will couple together and become a team and work on certain parts of the business. So, I think my success has been my open-mindedness to know what I do know and to know what I don't know, and to not put any kind of ego involved with it, and not to put any barriers between me and my employees. And that's management in general. That's just not me. That's the executive team that I have operates the same way.
I think what you just said right now is worth repeating. That's huge. Can you say it again?
That we don't put any barriers between the executive teams.
You say that you know what you do know, and
and I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. And so when I recognize, I never am putting, I'm not pretending, I'm not trying to put my ego, I'm not trying to be a know-it-all. I listen. That's why I was successful when I started in-house, because I just listened to people and I asked questions and I learned the medical field. I'm a unique attorney in the sense that I can look at a claim and understand the coding, which is really the language of the medical field. I can look at an operative report, which is for a lawyer is almost like the evidence of the procedure that was done. I know how billing is done all the way through law, but I only learned that because I ask questions to everyone. And I continue to learn because this is such a complex industry that everyone has different experiences and different knowledge. And that's what makes us, very successful like I said, because we listen, not tell.
Yep. Listen, collaborate, not tell. I think some of the things that you're mentioning, it really speaks to good leadership, right? Oftentimes people get this misconception of being a leader, which is kind of telling people what to do, having to know having to have the answer, and if you don't, then make it up. And that's actually not true. I think being transparent, being genuine with your people is one of the best things you can do, because people learn to appreciate you. And then when you say, let's go in this direction, people follow you. And that's leadership. And I can see that you're doing that with your firm, and it's working very well for you. So I'm very happy. I feel very fortunate to be able to have this conversation with you, because I'm getting nuggets that are gonna actually help me grow, as well as I know our audience as well. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, you're very welcome, Paul.
So we talked about mentors, and I'm just wondering, is there someone in your life, whether professional, personal, that you've considered a mentor, and maybe some of the things that you learned that you'd like to share?
That's a tough question. I mean, I think, I wouldn't say this is a mentor. I would say this is an inspiration that I would want to share, which is my grandmother. And when she was imagine a woman who was, not educated, not given the same opportunities that we have today as women. In the 1930s, her sister was sick, and she was dying. And in order to save her, there was an experimental drug called penicillin, as we all know today. And so she got herself on a train to Washington, D.C., and she got in front of a congressman trying to get an exception to allow her sister to get the penicillin. And unfortunately, she didn't get it. and her sister did pass away at 19. But that story has always resonated with me. I think, do what you can was kind of the message I got from my grandmother. So do what you can. That's why I've always looked for a mentor, fought for the surgeons because I believe in them. I really do. I believe that our healthcare system is very broken right now.
Mhm.
And if we don't get it to a point where doctors can really practice medicine and not worry about what they're getting paid to stay in business, it's going to get bad. So I think my grandmother was probably my biggest inspiration. My mentors were, I think, the person who called me back from the Yellow Pages and said, why not? Here's one person who's just calling and saying, I would leave a voicemail. Hi, my name is Leslie Howard. I really want to learn immigration law. I'm a young attorney. Would you be willing to help me? So I think that's the person who really inspired me.
That's wonderful, Leslie. I really appreciate your time. It's coming to an end. And I just want to say thank you so much. And folks, for you listening, if you want to be in touch with Leslie, if perhaps you may be needing her services, we're going to be linking all of her information in the description of this episode. So Leslie, thank you so much. And I appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Paul. I enjoyed it.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the show, go to NewJerseyBusinessPodcast.com. That's NewJerseyBusinessPodcast.com. We can't wait to hear from you and your business. You can also visit our website to learn about sponsorship opportunities and how to qualify for a complimentary gift. Thanks again for listening to the New Jersey Business Podcast.